Everybody, I am here again. It's been about 2 months since I've done a video for you guys. Today is September 5th. I should have mentioned that beforehand, but as you can see from the title, I no longer have the van. It's unfortunate. Wish I could have kept it, but I was in between a rock and a hard place and just had to let it go at that point. It served its purpose. Hopefully it's the videos that I've made for you guys have been helpful. And I thought I'd just kind of do an update of why I bought the van in the first place and reasons why I had to let it go. So I ended up purchasing the van back in February of this year for a road trip that I had planned back about a year ago. And the intent was to have a bunch of my friends go along with me, and each of us would buy a cheap car, so it'd be like a cheap car road rally. Our intended course was to go south through California to Barstow, and then east to Texas, mainly following Route 66. Being a history major, I thought that'd be pretty cool. And then once we hit Shamrock, Texas, we'd head north through the Oklahoma Panhandle, and then into Colorado, Utah, Nevada, Eastern Oregon, and then back home here to Washington State. So what ended up happening, a lot of friends who were interested in taking the road trip with me ended up bailing out, and at the end it just turned out to be me and my friend Ryan, who you've seen in previous videos. He's major help pay for the van, help do the work that went into the van, and I kind of asked for a better traveling companion. So I took off for this road trip back in July. It was July 15th through the 29th. It was supposed to be 2 weeks of continuous travel. And on the first day we actually had a little bit of an issue with the engine kind of cutting out on us in southern Oregon. We didn't think much of it at the time because we were thinking that it would have been crud in the gas tank or in the carburetor, since the van hadn't been run on for an extended period since we purchased it, and hadn't been run for 2 years prior to that. So we thought about checking into the fuel filter. Somebody had obviously plumbed around that little back up there. They plumbed the fuel line straight into the carburetor with no filter. So we were incapable of finding that. But the second day out, we didn't really have too much of an issue with that hesitation going on, and pretty much cruised along, despite 100-degree weather in Southern California. We made it all the way to east of Kingman, Arizona on Route 66 before we faced the hesitation again. And that was during a thunderstorm when we got into, I think it's Seligman or Sligman, Arizona. I'm not sure of the pronunciation, but filled up on premium gas and put in a fuel additive that seemed to remedy the issues. Continued on to Flagstaff that night, and we thought that had pretty much solved our issues. We didn't face anything else until we got to just east of our final destination of Shamrock, Texas. Had a little bit of hesitation, but we were pretty excited to have made it this far in something that was 35 years old and had about 153,000 miles. Might have been more close to 155 by the time we made it there, without any major mechanical issues. So we were pretty excited. We made it to our destination. it was after that day, and this was about day 7 of our trip, when the hesitation proved to be a major issue for us. So it started in the northern Texas Panhandle and got continually worse as we drove through the Oklahoma Panhandle and into Colorado. And I mean, there were periods where the engine was cutting out, so there was obviously something wrong. I thought it was a vapor lock issue. Ryan thought it was a electrical issue with the spark plugs. So when we got to Lamar, Colorado that night, we did a quick run down to, I think it was O'Reilly's, bought a new cap and rotor, installed that, thought we had the issue repaired the next day, and took off for Pueblo, Colorado, and we're trying to make our way west. Ended up breaking down in Pueblo, Colorado. We had to spend a night there while the van was getting repaired at a shop, and the technicians there said that the engine was having some issues with an airlock occurring at the intake manifold. So had that repaired, as well as a water pump at the same time. So, but by the time the repair work was done at the end of, I think this was day 8 at this point, they came back to us and said that we had another issue, and that issue was that the transmission was going out. So we decided, instead of heading west, we had tried to limp north to, we had some friends in the Denver suburb of Longmont, so Colorado. So we decided to head that way. Unfortunately, we did not make it out of town, out of Pueblo, and our friend had to come down, pick us up, and take us up there. The transmission just, we had to, Ryan did most of the driving, and he was having to manually shift it between gears for an automatic transmission. You could obviously smell that it was starting to cook out. One thing that we did discover was that one of the vacuum hoses, one of the vacuum lines for the transmission had been disconnected, as well as we were starting to see issues with the alternator too after the repair job. So about $800 of repair work over 2 days, and we maybe made it 15 miles north out of town. So not too happy about the end results. Like I said, friend had to come down, pick us up. We ended up leaving it at a rest stop, and the next day I had to rent a car, come down, and ended up trying to sell it online, and eventually just had to scrap the van altogether for, well, the stately sum of $250 after all the work that we put into it. And all that work that we put into it was what cut the cost down, was because we had put in so much insulation, repaired the fiberglass top, that all that stuff was holding it back from getting the scrap value out of it. So disheartening, to tell you the truth. But fortunately, we broke down in a fairly convenient spot. Our van was probably about 2.5 hours away. If we broke down in Texas or, you know, Utah, it would have been a whole different situation in terms of how would we, you know, get out. But caught a quick flight home, had the weekend off after that, and pretty much have been trying to recoup ever since, in terms of finances, and just trying to get back to normalcy. In terms of the channel itself, I've got a couple more videos to post, from renovations to and the trip itself. I've got a couple of videos of that. There is actually a completed as to the point of where we took off the trip, kind of tour of the van. So I'd like to get that post it for you guys. But other than that, I don't know what I'm going to do with this channel. Right now I'm not looking into getting another van to do any renovation work. You know, my wife are trying to get into a house, and I'm trying to get into full-time employment too, so those are my main priorities. Maybe one of these days I will get another project. It's kind of hard to say, but right now I've got bigger fish to fry, so maybe I'll throw up a couple videos every once in a while on some random stuff. Not quite sure. But thank you guys for watching. Hopefully, sorry to say, hopefully this isn't the last video that I make for this channel, but who knows. I know it's going to be the last for a while. But thank you guys.